Glad to have you on. Wanted to get your take here on the national recruiting picture in just a bit, but of course, West Virginia related. The Mountaineers yesterday picking up a commitment from four-star prospect Shelton Gibson out of Cleveland Heights High School in Ohio. He had a lot of other solid offers, including Ohio State. How good of a pickup is he for West Virginia?
Well, it's huge. I mean, with the Mountaineers losing Stephon Austin and Stedman Bailey to the draft, they're looking to replenish that wide receiving core. And Stedman Bailey, was one of the fastest guys on the field. Same with Stephon Austin, but Shelton Gibson, he's one of the fastest guys in the Midwest this year in this recruiting class, and he's really thick and tough, and he can really take a hit, and he's definitely not afraid to go over the middle. So, down at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, I was able to see him one-on-one for the first time, and he was pretty impressive going up against some really good defensive backs.
Adam, give us a comparison for Shelton. Who would you say he reminds you of?
Wow, that's so tough. He's within this recruiting class. He's a thicker Tyler Boyd that is a little bit tougher and definitely faster. He's got good hands. We saw him multiple times during practices at the U.S. Army All-American game. Going over the middle, catching passes in front of the safeties, right behind the linebackers, and taking a hit, and was definitely able to stand up to it.
When you look overall at West Virginia's class, 23 commitments, a couple of four-stars in there. How would you rate West Virginia's recruiting class right now?
It's pretty solid. They're the 21st class overall right now in the country, and the third best in the Big 12, which is pretty big, especially for an offense that's trying to replace some guys who have left. This year I'm pretty excited about a few guys coming in. I got to see a lot of the West Virginia commits at the Chesapeake Bowl, also held at right in the D.C. area, and I was really impressed with a few guys. Some of the 3-stars like Darryl Worley or Al-Rashid Benton. Both of those guys really surprised me with how enthusiastic they were for the game and the tangibles that Darryl Worley possesses. His height, his speed, his ranginess as a defensive back was something that definitely caught me off guard, and I was pretty impressed with. Also on the offensive line for the West Virginia recruiting class, Marcel Lazard, I got to see him at the Chesapeake Bowl also. He's a huge offensive tackle, and he's going to be good for you guys for the years to come.
Adam, everybody and their brother was recruiting at Eastern Christian Academy or whatever it's called this week. I guess it changed names about 4 times. But tell us, first of all, give us a little update on that academy. We talked the story about it way back when, but tell us a little bit of the story about the academy itself. How'd they finish out the season? I didn't even see if they were able to finally play a few more games in the end, and also specifically a couple of kids that West Virginia got commitments from and actually are enrolled in school right now in DeKel Shorts and Wendell Smallwood.
That's correct. So kind of a long story, actually. A lot of the players themselves, there's a group of them that were at Red Lion Christian Academy in Delaware, and that school de-emphasized sports, and that group of players went to a new school that was started by one of the parents called Eastern Christian Academy, and that school was in Maryland. And believe it or not, it was not able to get sanctioned by the Maryland High School Sports Association. And for that reason, a lot of teams that were on their schedule canceled their games with them. So they were only able to play 4 games this season. But that doesn't speak to the quality of players they have. They have some of the best collection of talent at one school in the entire country. This year they had 2 U.S. Army All-Americans in Khalil Rogers and Kenny Bigelow, both of whom are going to Southern Cal this coming year. And Kenny Bigelow is a spring enrollee, so he's already in school also. So it's a pretty impressive group of talent at that school, and hopefully they get sanctioned and are able to play a full schedule next season.
Again, we're speaking with Adam Friedman. He's the Mid-Atlantic recruiting analyst for Rivals.com. And Adam, when you look here at the Big 12 overall, you mentioned a little bit ago, Oklahoma coming in at number 13 in your rankings, Texas at 18, West Virginia 3 spots behind the Longhorns. How do you see the Big 12 shaping up overall?
Overall recruitment in the Big 12, there's a lot of opportunity for guys, for freshmen that come into the Big 12 right now. Most every team is trying to plug in guys where guys have gone on to the NFL, and there's just a lot of room for people to step up next season. Kansas State losing Colin Klein, there's a big void there, and Texas, Oklahoma State. There's room for guys to step up. Kansas has a big opportunity to make a move in the Big 12 this year. It's one of the most wide open races in the Big 12 that we've seen in recent years, and it's going to be exciting this coming year.
Obviously, just a few weeks left before national signing date. There are a few undecided kids. A lot have made decisions, but there's still some major ones out there. Nationally, who are some of the big names that you're following, and especially your region, that Mid-Atlantic region? Who are some of the names that are still undecided? They're going to go, one way or the other. And is West Virginia involved with any of these kids?
Unfortunately, I don't know if West Virginia is really involved with most of the top uncommitted guys in my region in the Mid-Atlantic here. There's Derek Green, the nation's #1 running back. He's going to be choosing between Michigan and Tennessee and Auburn on the 26th of this month. And then there's also Yannick Ngakoue and Natai Rogers. Yannick Ngakoue is a linebacker from Washington, D.C., and Rogers is a lineman from just outside D.C. The two of them are probably going to decide right around signing day, and both of them are going to be choosing between Maryland, South Carolina, and Florida State. The next highest uncommitted player in the Mid-Atlantic is Jameer Irvin-Sills. He was considering West Virginia there for a while. Two of his teammates are committed to the Mountaineers. He was one of those players from Eastern Christian Academy. It doesn't sound like he is considering West Virginia anymore. It sounds like their contact has sort of dropped off. He's more considering Mississippi State. He just went there for a official visit last weekend. He was formerly committed to Auburn, and it sounds like they could jump back into the picture at some point here, but he is looking to decide right around signing day as well.
Again, speaking with Adam Friedman, Rivals Mid-Atlantic recruiting analyst. And Adam, we really do appreciate your time. When you kind of step away from WVU specifically and just look at the state of West Virginia with recruits that come out of the state, obviously not a whole lot of D1 players, but you do get several each year. Ryan Switzer this year, obviously the most notable player out of the state, headed to North Carolina.
Yeah, and he's great. I got to see him at one of the camps that we had in Pittsburgh. It was one of the VTO camps that Rivals went to, and I was really blown away with his quickness. It was unbelievable for a player his size, be able to shake quicker who you thought were quicker defensive backs. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and just show off his versatility was really impressive. And he was probably the second best player at that camp, right behind Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, you mentioned you went to the Chesapeake Bowl, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a couple of other in-state guys. Elijah Wellman, he's a Spring Valley kid, headed to WVU. Jordan Clay, headed to Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall those two at all?
Yes, I do. Actually, Elijah Wellman, I was impressed with his versatility as well. Not the biggest, not the fastest guy, but they were rotating him around from tight end to fullback. He even played a little bit of linebacker too, which is surprising in practice there. But I was impressed with that. I didn't get to see much of Jordan Clay, but again, I've heard good things about him. I did get to see him, and he's got good tangibles. He's tall. I know that he can move around pretty well, and looks to have a pretty decent future at tight end over at the Air Force Academy.
Adam, as always, there's a musical chairs in the coaching fraternity at this point in time. Anything that has changed major in terms of recruiting nationally? I mean, from the Chip Kelly change to any of the other stuff, Kentucky, Auburn, all these other changes around it. Anything that's having a major impact on national recruiting?
Well, right now, obviously, the Oregon coaching position with Chip Kelly, that's affecting a lot of stuff. And if they promote the correct assistant, it seems like they'll be able to keep their recruiting class intact. Other than that, Auburn and Tennessee, those coaching changes were had a huge ripple effect across the country, especially in my region. There's a wide receiver from the Mid-Atlantic in Maryland named Paul Harris. He was an early enrollee, and he went to Tennessee now. He's already enrolled down there. And those are the three off the top of my head that have really affected the recruiting landscape across the country.
All right, last thing here for you, Adam. What's your take nationwide? You've got your usual suspects at the top there with Florida at 1, Notre Dame 2, Alabama 3. How's the national recruiting picture shaping up?
It's going to be interesting to see how committed players, or if committed players, stay committed as we move closer to signing day. You had earlier tonight, actually just a few minutes ago, Laquan Treadwell committed to Ole Miss, and it's going to be interesting to see if Robert Kimdichie ends up going to Ole Miss, and if and when that happens, a lot of the pieces are going to fall into place, and the team that I think that could have the best finish to this recruiting class is Ole Miss, if and when Robert Kimdichie does commit.
All right, good deal. We really do appreciate your time and good insight from you. Hopefully we can catch back up down the road sometime.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
All right, thank you. Take care. There you go. Adam Friedman. He's the Rivals Mid-Atlantic recruiting analyst.